Good morning. My name is Maureen Chung. Welcome to Daily Devotional of June 1st. The Bible passage is Genesis chapter 45, verse 3 to 11, and the title is Reconciliation. Joseph said to his brothers, "I am Joseph. Is my father still living?" But his brothers were not able to answer him because they were terrified at his presence. Then Joseph said to his brothers, "Come close to me." When they had done so, he said, "I'm your brother Joseph, the one you sold into Egypt. And now, do not be distressed, and do not be angry with yourselves for selling me here, because it was to save lives that God sent me ahead of you. For 2 years now, there has been famine in this land, and for the next 5 years, there will be no plowing and reaping. But God sent me ahead of you to preserve for you a remnant on earth and to save your lives by a great deliverance. So then, it was not you who sent me here, but God. He made me father to Pharaoh, lord of this entire household, and ruler of all Egypt. Now hurry back to my father and say to him, 'This is what your son Joseph says. God has made me lord of all Egypt. Come down to me. Don't delay. You shall live in the region of Goshen and be near me, you, your children and grandchildren, your flocks and herds, and all you have. I will provide for you here, because 5 years of famine are still to come. Otherwise, you and your household and all who belong to you will become destitute.'" All of us have been hurt or wronged one time or another. Young lovers encounter difficulties in their relationship, either due to unfaithfulness or irreconcilable differences. They decide to break up and part ways. The hurt is real and the loss is real. Or you might have been betrayed by a friend when something communicated in confidence is spilled over to others. What was private information has become public knowledge. That is hard to take. Or there are children and grandchildren who love you for your money, not your person. Now that they have drained it all from you, they no longer care for you anymore. Such are the challenges that wound you deeply. Joseph, the 11th son of Jacob, in the Old Testament, was sold by his brothers as a slave and was taken to Egypt at 17 years of age. He was separated from the father who loved him dearly. He spent the next few years serving an Egyptian official whose wife wrongfully accused him of attempted rape. Joseph ended up in prison. While in prison, Joseph met Pharaoh's cupbearer and baker. They had dreams that were worrisome to them. Joseph interpreted the cupbearer's favorable dream for him. Subsequently, Pharaoh pardoned the cupbearer and he returned to his former position. However, the cupbearer forgot to plead for Joseph's release. Joseph spent 2 more years waiting for the appeal of his case. When Pharaoh had a dream and needed an interpreter, the cupbearer recommended Joseph to help out. Only then, Pharaoh became impressed with Joseph's wisdom and had him enter the service of Pharaoh, king of Egypt, at age 30. Thus, the first 13 years he spent in Egypt were hard years for this young man stranded far from home. He had all the reasons to hate his brothers. 7 years of abundant harvest passed by. Now we have entered the 3rd year of famine. Joseph's brothers had made trips to Egypt to purchase grain for their homeland. Joseph recognized them, but he hesitated to reveal his identity to them. I believe Joseph found it difficult to forgive them. The temptation to revenge was very real. On the other hand, he worried about his father Jacob and missed his younger brother Benjamin. Harming the 10 older brothers would indirectly hurt Jacob and Benjamin also. Joseph was in a difficult emotional place. In Genesis chapter 45, today's passage, we see how Joseph revealed his identity to his brothers. "I am Joseph. Is my father still living?" His words stunned his brothers. What finally swung Joseph to the side of forgiveness and reconciliation? It was seeing the hand of God in his years of hardship. He introduced the heavenly perspective. "And now do not be distressed and do not be angry with yourselves for selling me here, because it was to save lives that God sent me ahead of you." For 2 years now, there had been famine in the land, and for the next 5 years, there will be no plowing and reaping. But God sent me ahead of you to preserve for you a remnant on earth and to save your lives by a great deliverance. So then it was not you who sent me here, but God. And that is from verse 5 to 8. What he felt was a bad experience. It turned out to be God's better plan to save all of his clan. Then his suffering had a higher purpose. What breaks us is the failure to find a purpose for our suffering. We can only gain that peculiar perspective when we look at the life from God's position. Only then sufferings become blessings disguised. Enemies become friends disguised. I mentioned before that my boyfriend from university broke up with me, and that really broke my heart. I was afraid to start another relationship after that very bad experience. But I increasingly enjoyed my fellowship with my church family and enjoyed my studies in the things of God. My life was meaningful and full. About 10 years later, I entered full-time pastoral ministry with a joyful heart. God's hand was in my heartbreaking experience, which turned into heavenly joy. I'm sure that when you see God's hand in your suffering and there is indeed a higher purpose, you will be amazed at the wisdom of our awesome God. You'll be able to forgive instead of taking revenge. And you will be thankful for the fuller life that comes from God as a result. Sufferings become blessings and foes become friends. Praise the Lord. Thank you for joining me, and may God bless you. And I will see you tomorrow. Please like and subscribe to my channel and click the bell icon to get new video updates. Thank you.